Welcome back to Proactive New York. I'm Christine Corrado. With me on Skype is Alan Knitowski, CEO of Phunware. Alan, great to see you again.
Hey, thanks for having me today.
Alan, you're expected to present at the GDS North American Digital Innovation Insight Summit in Arizona at the end of the month. Can you first off tell me a bit about this conference?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So this is actually the third conference like this. It's really where they're bringing Fortune 1000 companies from a lot of different verticals all together to learn a lot more about digital transformation, what goes on with innovation, what goes on with mobile and cloud and big data and all these other really important things that are driving companies worldwide. What we've found is it's a wonderful opportunity to sit down in a little less formal setting, get to know people one-to-one or in small groups. And increasingly what you find is there's a lot of people very well-intentioned about what they need to do to make their brand's identity and interactions in the digital and mobile space more similar to what we see in the physical world. As I said, this is the third one we're doing. We get a lot of value out of it. It's wonderful to go sit down for a few days, get away from the office. And we're really brought in as kind of experts on subject matter that are of interest to these companies across what they're doing in the C-suite, across what they're doing on initiatives tied to facilities and all the things that they want to do before we ever even arrive or after we've leave these facilities in terms of how they get value out of these high touch points between their brand and the customers.
Well, some of these Fortune 500 companies are Starbucks, Amazon, Disney. So is this really kind of a good networking opportunity for you as well?
Oh, absolutely. I jokingly call it customer speed dating because you have a certain number of one-on-one meetings and you get a finite amount of time. Clearly, when you're doing some of the cocktail hours and the dinners and some of the breakout sessions to talk about some of the problems they're having, what we're seeing in our customer set that might be helpful. It's just really a great form of joint interactivity. As we've been going through more and more time, I think we're all just overwhelmed by messages, text messages, phone calls, emails, especially all this outbound, reach. I think most of us kind of are just getting exhausted by it all. You look at it as spam. These are really, really different, and it's wonderful to be able to go down on a dedicated basis, be able to sit down face to face. Most people want to work with people they've got to meet, that they've got to look in the eye, or that's been referred to them by someone else they trust. So we can go in, share a decade of our experience as a subject matter expert, help show them different ways, different groups think about the problem, and the results that we've seen have been positive for both sides.
Well, you, along with Matt Lindenberger, who is EVP of Product Management at Phunware, will be presenting there. Can you kind of give us a preview on some topics you'll be presenting on?
Sure. The biggest thing we'll always be talking about is just what is digital transformation and how do these things work? When you say these kind of buzzword bingo things, they always are out there, but they don't really mean a lot, right? So what we do is to say, okay, if you're in healthcare, how do we talk about a patient experience? If you're in retail, what is the optimal shopping experience? If you're in aviation, what's the optimal traveler experience? And what we try to do is to help people understand that with 70% of our time on the internet being specific to mobile and 90% of that time being specific to native iOS and Android devices, the smartphones, the tablets, the wearables, and all these other devices we like to use, it's really important that you get that high value touch point between a brand and these consumers perfectly set up. And when you're talking to companies, it's not just important that you win the battle for these customers and their mind share and their attention, when they're at your hospital or at your stadium or at your museum or at your hotel. You really have to win the battle before these folks arrive, while they're on site, and again, after they leave. You have to be top of mind. And as we all know, it's very brutal how consumers react. If they don't like your brand and your application, and they don't think they can get whatever they want, whenever they want it, right now, and give it to me, they'll just delete your application off their phone And that's fatal to a brand because you want your brand on that device that's with these folks 24/7 everywhere they go. And if they delete you, that is absolutely going to be fatal to a business. So we're excited to show people how to engage people better, give people what they want when they want on a one-to-one basis, indoors and outdoors in real time. And what we're going to do is to share what we've seen across the spectrum of engagements we've done, how they can think about the problem, and the way that they can organize, how do I define this experience I want to bring to life? What are the options in terms of make, buy, or build to bring that experience to life in the form of applications on the devices? Then importantly, once they've created this new product, how do they take it to market, build an audience that is using it, and then importantly, how do you engage and monetize that group, that audience that you've built on those applications, learn a lot about them, and then use data to feed into the evolution, not only of what the product roadmap is going to look like in the future for them, but how they use that data to get net new customers in addition to delighting and exciting the people they already have.
Well, I definitely love to be a fly on the wall for some of these conversations. Alan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.